Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers. And if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. So if you are stumbling across this channel or you've become a regular viewer and you haven't yet subscribed or clicked on the like button or clicked on that bell button to make sure it turns black so you get all the notifications for when I release videos like these, make sure you do subscribe, click on that bell, and you'll receive all the notifications. And I really look forward to being able to catch up with you every couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks at the most, depending on what life stuff's going on. So today is Sunday, the 5th of May, and I'm up in Wollongong at the moment. We've had a lot of rain over the last couple of days, including today, which is why yesterday especially felt like a Sunday. Today feels a little bit like a public holiday because it is so quiet, because we've got a lot of rain happening at the moment, which is keeping all of the fair weather friends away inside. Admittedly, I'm not really keen to get outside either and go for walks at all because it's raining. And for me, I love the rain because it gives me that extra reason to be able to sit on the couch, be all cozy, watch TV, and get a bucket load of stitching done and just chill out with my man and not feel like I have to be go, 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 go and be out doing stuff. So it is good. Not that when the weather is beautiful, I'm always on the go. It's that feeling I get that I have to be outside enjoying the weather, whether it be going out for a walk and checking out what the beach is doing, or sitting out on the balcony doing stitching, or anything along those lines. So I'm absolutely loving the weather at the moment because where I'm living at the moment, we're almost right in the city centre, not quite city centre, but pretty close to the centre of Wollongong, and we're close to the beach, so we've got a lot of traffic that understandably wants to come down to the beach, check it out, enjoy what the beach has to offer. With that comes a lot of people on motorbikes, whether they be Harleys or sports bikes, and the lights around here don't always sync up smoothly. So just when you think it's like, yes, okay, we can go, let's go, we're out of the engine so we can get going, you then inadvertently have to slow down and stop again. So it's those sorts of noises that I'm getting used to, and for the most part, I think I have. There's the odd time when I will jump out of my skin and I'll joke around saying that I've hit my head on the ceiling because I've jumped so high. This is where I do enjoy the weather being like it is, because I feel like I'm back in the suburbs where it is quiet. We get just the occasional car driving past. That said, we're all here for some stitching stuff, so let's get into it. So with all of the stitching that I have to share with you is based on the last couple of weeks for the AFL Stitching Challenge that I am slowly working through. The AFL Stitching Challenge is based upon the Australian Football League and the different rounds of which teams are winning which games and what their final score is. So the projects that I have to share with you are based on halfway through round 6 through to halfway through round 8, which is this weekend. Today, being Sunday, there's about 2, maybe 3 games that are left to be played. So that's where I don't quite know what the final scores are for those. That said, I do have a bit of catch-up stitching that I need to do. And the really awesome, exciting thing is that I am on holidays at the moment. I've got roughly a week or so, maybe a smidgen over a week off work. So that's going to enable me to, pardon me, I'm partly drinking some coffee at the moment. So I have plenty of time to be able to catch up on the stitching, and the weather being the way that it is, it fills my cup a bit to know that I can sit down, get stitching done, and not feel guilty. With that in mind, the first project that I have to share with you is a Heaven and Earth design based on artwork by Lisa Parker, and it's called The Reader. Now, I love this piece. I purchased the chart possibly back in 2019, and it's only been last year that I started working on it as part of my October spooky stitching that I was doing. And I made the mistake of starting in the top left corner. I feel that I should have started in the center of the project because the majority of stitching is done in 310, and I also feel that I should have decided to stitch on black rather than the fabric I'm about to share with you. So this is where I'm at so far. I am doing tent stitch because there's just so much of the black that I want to be able to get through it quickly. And when I do get to the cat with the tarot cards, that's where I'll make the decision of doing the full cross. So with this, at the moment, with the tent stitch, it's 2/1, and even with the 2/1, you'll potentially see that I'm not getting very good coverage. So if I was doing 2/1, the stitches would be quite bulky. I don't know, it's a learning curve for me, if nothing else. And with this particular gridded fabric that I'm stitching, or you stitching on, back in October, I learned that the grid here, this gridded fabric, is 400 stitches just for one square. So it's 200 by 200, which can be okay, I guess. It means that I could, if I really wanted to, do some calculations and work my way closer to the center of the chart, or I could somehow do some pencil markings on the fabric to figure out where the cat's ears start and even where some of the blue that we're starting to see behind the cat. It's a thought. I think if I get sick and tired of stitching the black, then I think that could be a viable option. With all of that said, in the last couple of weeks, since we last caught up, have put 138 minimum amount of stitches in. And the 138 is a combined score for the crows, I think it was. It's the Adelaide crows that I've got this piece connected to, and they're doing semi-okay. So this is where we will intermittently see this piece. That's it. The next piece, again, is going to be sort of intermittent in terms of what we actually end up seeing. So let's get that one sorted. So the next piece that I have to share with you is a Tilton Crafts chart called Halloween Treats 2. And this piece is associated with the Melbourne Demons. And this is what the piece will roughly look like when it's done. And I've learned my lesson to start in the center. And this is where I'm at so far. Since we last caught up, I've put the minimum of 85 stitches in, plus a bonus 32 because I was in the groove and I really wanted to finish off the thread that was on my needle. I need to put an extra 74 stitches into this based on the Demons winning their game last night, and I did watch at least the first quarter, maybe the first half of the game, and then I went to bed feeling tired. It would have been good to stay up and finish watching the game because the Demons won against the Geelong Cats, and it would have been exciting because the Geelong Cats up until last night have been undefeated for the first 7 rounds. And earlier yesterday I was saying to my boyfriend, I wonder how long the Cats will go before they are beaten and before they actually lose a game. Like, how many more games could they possibly win? Again, the Cats are a strong team as well. They had won the grand final a couple of years ago, and I think during that particular season, I remember the Cats had very much kicked the Swans' butts in twice. So it was almost like, I'll rephrase, Swans made it to the grand final a couple of years ago, which was really exciting, and it was going to be a tough ask for them to be able to win the grand final against the Cats because they are such a strong team. They've got a lot of really good players. So sadly, with that grand final, the Cats were very strong and they deserved to win. It was almost like the Swans players left their brains at home to an extent that they just didn't turn up and want the win enough, which was disappointing. They lost severely. It wasn't like a close game where it was just a couple of points difference. It was almost like a 50-point difference. And it's like, guys, come on, you made it to the grand final. You could have won. And then the following season, it's like the Swans still had memory from that ass kicking. And again, they lost a few times to the Cats when they played against them, which was really annoying. It was like they'd lost their confidence playing against the Cats for a little bit there. So this is where, from now onwards, it's going to be interesting to see how things go in terms of whether the current teams that are being strong, if they end up staying strong or if they fall to pieces towards the second end or the second half of the season. It happens. Anyway, I'm rambling on too much about football right now. Let's go back into the stitching and the next piece that I've been working on. Just before I start sharing with you the next piece that I've done some work on, when I was rambling on about the Geelong Cats, I do actually need to get a bit of stitching done on the Four Seasons Cats, which is a dimensions kit that I've had in my whips rotation for quite a while. It has been set aside for longer than it should have been, and I just have summer or spring quarter left to go. And I'm saying summer or spring because the the half that has spring and summer on it, they look very similar, and for the life of me, I can't tell the difference as to which one's spring, which one's summer. That's by the by. So I have, what is it? About 150 stitches from round 6 and 7 that I need to put into the Cats. And I hope I can get it done during this current week that I've got off work. However, I am getting into Monog-a-mania at the moment, so the Cats may have to wait until a couple of weeks later. Okay, that said, the actual next piece that I have to share with you is a hot cross stitching design called Black and White Rolled Up Daisy, and it's based on a photo that I took in one of my holiday home coast house places. So this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And with the Black and White Rolled Up Daisy, I have put 208 stitches in it since we last caught up, and I need to put another 85 stitches into it from Collingwood Magpies win from their Friday night win. So this is where I'm at so far, and having something behind this piece, so me standing behind, hopefully helps you to see just the awesomeness of this piece. I'm stitching it on 18 count Black Ada, and it is, again, I'm tooting my own horn on this one. I really do think this piece is really awesome, and I'm happy with how it's turning out so far. So this could be one of my focus pieces when I'm done with Monog-a-mania. I'll have to wait and see. Okay, so the next piece that I have to share with you is Randall Spangler's Trick or Treat 2, and it's been charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So I'll just get the cover page up and we'll get into it. Okay, so this is roughly what Trick or Treat 2 will look like. I really love Randall Spangler's artwork, and I've been surprised that he designed this art, or not designed, he created this artwork, because with all of the other cross stitch pieces that I have seen from Heaven and Earth Design, especially when I've been watching other Flosstube channels, it's always been these cute dragons that, for the Australian viewers here, the dragons that we see for the St. George Bank ads, those, I had a series that where there was those cute little dragons that would talk to the person considering a home loan or whatever it was with St. George. Those dragons remind me of those ads. Anyway, I'm not affiliated at all with St. George. It's just something that it's reminding me of. So with this piece, I am actually stitching this on 18 count Ada, and this is where I'm at. I know that it's not going to look exactly like the artwork of Randall Spangler, and that's okay. It's going to be interesting to see how things go for this. With this particular piece, the interesting thing is that it's associated, well, the interesting part is not that it's associated with the Essendon Bombers. The interesting part, though, is on Anzac Day, which was the 25th of April, so roughly a week ago, we had a public holiday on the Thursday, and the Collingwood Magpies and Essendon Bombers played on Anzac Day, and they tied. It was an exciting game, and that meant that to put the 85 stitches in, I needed to do 85 on this piece and 85 on the black and white rolled up daisy that we just saw. And interestingly, when I was talking with my family on the phone last week, they were asking if, or not asking if, asking what happens if this sort of situation happened. It's like, well, I just end up stitching on both projects, and it worked out pretty good. So with that in mind, I do need to put another 77 stitches in from, is it? Yes, it is 77 stitches from the Essendon's win last night, yesterday. Anyway, they played yesterday at some point in time. The surprise, like, it wasn't surprising that Essendon won. They were playing against the West Coast Eagles, and the West Coast Eagles have got a long way to go to get themselves back up to being an awesome team again. I think many years ago they had some really good players, and when they retired and moved on, the the West Coast Eagles were left wanting. That said, with the final scores that I saw on the official AFL website, it was a close game. Like, there was only 6 points difference in the final score. So if West Coast Eagles had been able to kick a goal and kick it behind, they could have won. So it meant they could have had 7 points and, yeah, beat Essendon, and that would have been embarrassing. Anyway, it would have been nice to see West Coast Eagles win, because I would have been able to work on, I think it's a piece that I can't remember right now because I haven't been able to work on it because West Coast haven't won yet. Anyway, or if they have, I can't remember which piece that I need to work on. Anyway, that's by the by. Let's go back into the cross stitch stuff again. So the next piece that I have to share with you is the zebras, and this is a really cool, colourful piece. It is by Design Works, and it is a kit that I purchased from the Fox collection a few years ago, and I finally started it, I think a couple of years ago maximum, when it was the Pride round in AFL. So the Pride round in AFL is where they celebrate the LGBTQI plus people who are not only part of the AFL in a lot of different capacities, but also the people who support the different teams that are part of the AFL, and I guess more widely, the people who are part of our community. So that's where I thought, no, the design works, zebras, it is colourful, it is rainbow, it is part of the pride flag. And this is where I'm at so far. And I have this piece associated with the Gold Coast Suns because the Gold Coast is in Queensland. To me, it is a summery place, it is colourful, it is fun, and I'm getting close to finishing the top half of this piece. I still have a lot of pink that needs to get stitched up the top here where we are starting to see this pinky purple zebra come to life, and so it'll be up where you see my fingers moving around a little bit. That's where I need to finish some stitching, and then I'll get to move down to the lower half where we see some more purples, blues, greens, and I think it's going to be really nice to have done. It'll be a nice piece that I don't know yet where I'm going to be able to hang up, but the great thing is that its finished piece is a measurement of 12 by 12, which means that I'm going to have an easier time with finding a frame to put the piece in than some other pieces that I've had to try and frame and finish off in years gone by. Anyway, by the by, let's get on to the next piece. Just before I get on to the next piece that I've done some work on, I forgot to mention how many stitches I put into zebras. So from round 7, when the Gold Coast Suns win their game, I put 112 stitches into it, and I'm also using all of the called for colours, fabric and everything that came in that kit. With that in mind, the next piece I have to share with you isn't a kit, and it's been an interesting learning curve. I have to share with you the project called Moonlit Waters Max Colours, based on the artwork by Julie Fain, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And I have put 105 stitches into this piece based on round 6 win. I'm trying to remember. Maybe this was the West Coast Eagles when they won. That's probably why I'm struggling to remember which piece I actually work on. And so therefore I was wrong when I said that West Coast haven't won. Okay, this is where these lower teams teams that are towards the bottom of the ladder, so the lower level of the ladder, I struggle to remember who's doing what where because I don't get to work on those projects as much. That could feed into some plans. Wait and see. Anyway, the piece, this is what I'm at so far. My main focus has been on the wings where you see some threads hanging down, and I'm doing some fudging at the moment. I have marked up a little bit with my counting in the internal part or the middle part of the wings, and the good thing with the wings at the moment is that they're dark colours. So we're talking 310, 37.99, 4 and 4, those sort of grey dark colours in the DMC range. And I'm stitching this 1/1. I really thought that I was going to enjoy the wings more than I have so far. And I'll get into it once I've probably fixed up my mistake. I'm just worried that if I leave the miscounting as it is going to throw the rest of the fairy out of balance, and she could end up looking a little bit funny. And I don't want that. So it'll work out. It'll be okay. And I really can't remember. I really need to go back through my notes as to which team I've got this one connected to. So anyway, let's stop rambling about me remembering whose teams are part of what projects. This next project I know for certain is associated with the Sydney Swans. and I have got the Country Threads Pelicans connected to this next project. And the extra really cool thing with the way the Swans are playing, or have been playing for the last 8 rounds, because they did play yesterday, they have been winning the majority of their games, and it may have only been one loss that they've had so far, maybe 2 maximum. The really cool thing with this is I've signed up to a burger place here in Australia called Grilled, and Grilled have got a special deal on at the moment where if you support an NRL or AFL team, or both, you could watch both types of footy, that if those teams win on Monday, anytime during Monday, you get a 2-for-1 burger. So that works out pretty good. Not that I'm affiliated with Grilled at all, I'm just saying that that's where we go to get our burgers. And it means that for the last couple of weeks, we've actually gone and had dinner at Grilled, and it's been really nice to actually go there. It's got really nice mood lighting and all, and the good thing with Grilled is that they do low carb burgers or low carb bread stuff, and it means that Michael gets his burger fix, and I don't mind my burgers either, and it works out pretty cool. That said, the stitching. This is where I'm at so far. I have been focusing mostly on this bottom area here for all of the stitching, and since we last caught up, I have put 228 stitches in from rounds 6 and 7, and I need to put another 98 stitches into this. So it also means that with today being Sunday, tomorrow, whether it be for lunch or dinner, Michael and I are going to get to have 2-for-1 burgers. So it's all cool. It's all good. So it means that the price is just a little bit cheaper, and it is a really nice treat for us, a weekly treat. Okay, let's get on to some more stitching and the next project that I've done some work on. This next piece that I have to share with you is based on artwork by Amy Stewart, and is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This one is a mini Stitch in Time, or it's a Stitch in Time mini, and this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And I have this piece associated with the GWS Giants, and I've put 113 stitches into it. It feels like it's been a while since I've actually done any work on this piece. I think at one point the Giants, they had a bye, and then they lost their game yesterday because they were playing against the Swans. So I think I've been focusing around this area here just to fill it in just a little bit more. I've been enjoying working on this area here, and I'm feeling reluctant to move down here because I know that I'm out of balance by about 1 stitch, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to just fudge it, because it'll make life so much easier if I can just fudge it. I'm using all DMC threads, stitching 1/1, using this easy grid fabric. The next project that I have to share with you is called Pisces, and it's based on, I guess, two things. It's based on a quote and that I found on the internet, and a picture that I also found on the internet that was of the actual Pisces fish, simple zodiac stuff. So with that in mind, I'm just finding the cover page. Okay, so this is the roughly what Pisces will look like when it's done. And I have put 82 stitches into it as part of the minimum that I needed to do from the Port Adelaide win that they did or had either sometime in round 6 or 7, I can't remember. I think they are due to play today sometime. And I've also put a bonus 110 stitches into this piece because I was just in the groove for it and it all worked out. That said, I don't know if you'll be able to see much of a difference for the 110 that I've put in. So you might see that I've got the letter T forming, and that's pretty much where I was stitching, where you can see a slightly different shade of blue around the letter T, and I've got some stitching up around the O and U for the word soul. So if by chance you are new to this channel and you've not seen the Pisces piece before, the quote that I found online was called Pisces. Some of you will actually, I'll get the words up because I don't think I'm going to remember the words exactly. So, Pisces. Not everyone gets the same version of me. One person will tell you I'm a beautiful soul. Another will tell you I'm a cold-hearted arsehole. Believe both. I act accordingly. It is a very sassy quote, and when I'm not feeling confident, I question whether I should be stitching that particular quote. Then other times, similar to how I'm feeling at the moment, where I'm like, hang on, no, this is quite right, where I think all of us have got a bit of a slightly different personas that we show people in terms of what we're comfortable with revealing to others for different reasons. So that's where I think that quote is quite fitting. Now, the next piece I have lined up is Dewdrop Daisy. However, I want to save that for a little bit more towards the end. So the next piece that I actually want to share with you is another work in progress that is one of my new designs, and I'll get the cover page brought up and we'll get into that. Okay, so this is the cover page for the Spanish proverb, "A life lived in fear is a life half lived." And this particular saying has every so often come to mind when I'm having challenges in life or something's going on and I'm not feeling confident about taking the next step forward for something in my professional life, something in my personal life, or anything in between. And that particular quote is also from the movie Strictly Ballroom, and it's an Australian movie, one that I haven't watched for a while, but one that I love because I love dancing. I don't dance much, but I enjoy getting my groove on and just having fun on the dance floor, getting rid of any stresses that I might have pent up. And I would have loved to I would have loved to, but there's also nothing stopping me from also doing it now. Take lessons in ballroom dancing. And there's a scene in Strictly Ballroom where one of the lead characters, she's getting really frustrated with the male lead character. And in Spanish, she very quickly spits out the words for a life lived in fear is a life half lived, because the male lead character is questioning whether he's doing the right thing based on what people around him are saying, where he's questioning if he should be staying with tradition, doing the moves that people are telling him to do, or if he should do a particular move in the Paso Doble. Anyway, if you haven't watched the movie, I strongly recommend that you do go check it out if you do enjoy watching dance movies and if you enjoy Aussie movies as well. So that's it. Enough rambling. This is where I'm at for this particular piece. I have started in the middle of the fabric and I've done a lot of work around I guess where this butterfly's body is. It is a little bit confetti heavy, but I think it's worth it. And I can't actually remember how many stitches I've put into this piece during the last time we caught up. I'll have to go back and double check. It's potentially less than 100, but because I've been in the groove of doing stitching, that it's been maybe a couple of hundred stitches that I've put into it. I am also, just to note, stitching this on 18 count Ada, and I'm enjoying it. I really am. It's using all DMC threads, and again, this is one that could actually end up becoming one of my monogamous pieces if I end up needing a break from the AFL stitching challenge. So when I have taken a little bit of a break intermittently from the AFL stitching challenge, I've knuckled down and I have a finish. I have finally finished Summer in Stars Hollow. So the thing to know is the edge here is looking just a little bit funny, and I'll just fold this out. The edge of this piece is looking really, really funny, and I'll show you the back because it's going to help to put into context. This is the edge of the fabric. I have played fabric chicken with this piece, and I won. I'm quite proud of it. I'm not sure how I'm going to properly finish this now because I am just so close to the edge of it. And when I was measuring up this with Autumn and Spring in Stars Hollow, the fabric sizes are just a fraction different. So my understanding is that this is 28 count linen, and this might actually be 25 count, which means that this is going to be just a little bit bigger than the other two, which means that I'm not going to be, I could try and line these up, but this one is just going to be just a little bit too big, which is where I'm okay with that because it really lines up with some plans that I've got in my mind for how I'm going to finish it off. So I'm thinking of making these, sorry about that little bit of blip in the radar with editing. The plans that I've got in my mind for how I'm going to finish these off is based on fabric that I've picked up a few months ago from Spotlight, based around how I'd like to finish the summer, spring, autumn, winter in Stars Hollow stitching patterns, charts, whatever words that need to go with it. So thinking about summer in Stars Hollow and flowers, floral, bright, this is where I have these two colours coming in mind. And it is something where I'm still playing around in my mind how it'll get done. I'll need to go and spend a little bit of time at Spotlight and similar crafty places. And what I'm thinking is that I could potentially have this piece and similar pieces stretched onto some cardboard or some kind of matting or something like that. And then the fabric that goes around it could be something like this as a bit of a border. Or I could have something that's just a little bit daintier or simpler that acts like a border or matting or something, and then the actual border of the frame could be wrapped in this. So again, I'm going to need to play around with all of that. With that in mind, I also have some of these other sort of fabrics as well, again, that are fat quarters that I've picked up from Spotlight, and these sort of colours could go well as far as autumn colours are concerned. And then when I do get around to stitching the winter side of things, I have these colours here. And then in terms of the spring side of stuff, I don't know if any of these colours could fit in, or I do have some gingham fabric as well, which again are fat quarters, and that could also fit in with the summer side of things. It could fit in with all 4 seasons. And that is a bit of why I'm sounding disjointed like I am, because I'm thinking out loud here. So it'll work out. It'll be okay. So I've hinted a little bit at monogamous stitching, Monog-a-mania, and I haven't shared with you Dewdrop Daisy yet. And the Fremantle Dockers have won some games since we last caught up. I have also done some calculations with regards to Dewdrop Daisy and how many stitches I have left and when I might be able to get it done. Dewdrop Daisy. I have been raving on about Dewdrop Daisy for quite a while now, and I've certainly been focusing on this project for a minimum of 3 years at least, and I am at 93.33% with this piece. So if you're new to this channel, this is Dewdrop Daisy and what it'll look like roughly when it's done. And to have this piece at 93.33%, it means that it looks something a little bit like this. This has definitely been a labour of love, and I never thought that I'd actually see it finished. But now that I actually have roughly a week off work, and with the way the weather is right now, this is where Monog-a-mania is kicking in. For a lot of people with May, this means Stitch Mania. It means that a lot of people are going to be starting a lot of projects, and it can also mean that others are wanting to just focus solely on one project, and that's where Monog-a-mania for me is going to be happening, which also means that I'm going to be putting a pause on some of the stitching for the AFL rounds, because I have a little less than 4,000 stitches that I need to put into this piece before it's done, and it can be done. I think it can be done. It will mean some late nights. It means drinking some more coffee, more than normal. It means sitting on my butt for longer too. Stuff I can cope with. It'll be okay. A part of the slow going part and things that I'm focusing on right now are the stitches around the edge of the petals. That's where I've been focusing a lot of my time to get done. Just so I know that, okay, yeah, that's towards the bottom of the fabric. Maybe today I'll focus on filling in a bit more of the petals so I can really get closer to the edge. So I'll fold this up just a little bit just to help show with where I think I'll focus on for today. So I'll be focusing mostly around this sort of area here of filling in on there, and if I'm in the mode, I'll try and bring it down that way a little bit as well. It is one of those surreal things. Again, it is going to be good to have it finished, because I'll be able to then focus a little bit more on Spanish proverb. I have been really surprised by how much I've enjoyed stitching that when I get to. And I'm also looking forward to getting the black and white rolled up daisy finished as well. That's going to be good. That one, I've been like, yeah, with it, partly because it's a lot of grayscale colours with that. But when I get in the group for it though, it's a lot of fun. However, it also means in my headspace that now that I've finished that project, what new one can I start? And I'm going to be traveling to Canberra in the next few days, just for the middle of the week. And I'm going to be going to the Crafty Frog to use a gift voucher that I received as a birthday present about a year ago or so, maybe a little bit longer. I can't remember the time frame anyway, but I'm wanting to use that as going towards a project that I want to kit up again for another one of my designs that has actually been inspired from country living. I grew up on a farm, and out in the country there, especially sort of the west areas, that in New South Wales at least, and I have no doubt that it happens in other states in Australia as well, where there's these events called the B&S balls, the Bachelor and Spinster balls, which is an awesome opportunity for young country people to get together, let their hair down, and enjoy some drinking, enjoy some food, and get their groove on the dance floor, and just as a way of having a break from country life and meet people. So I've got a couple of charts that, or designs that I've charted up that I'm keen to get working on, and I've also got another chart that I am slowly stitching on as well that I really want to get some progress on as well. So we'll wait and see. Anyway, that is pretty much it for this particular episode. And I just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with me, because there are a heap of other channels that you could be watching. And I'm so thankful that you've chosen my channel to spend a bit of time with me. And again, if you have liked what you have seen here with this channel and you're keen to hear more about my progress, especially if you really want to see Dewdrop Daisy done, that I think is going to be a really cool special event. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you've got any questions, comments, or anything connected to this episode or other episodes, by all means, drop me a line in the comments and yeah, we'll go from there. So I just want to say thank you again, and I will see you in a couple of weeks' time.